Good afternoon and welcome to another video lecture from FinancialAnalystU.com, teaching the world of finance to the world. Today we're going to talk about managerial accounting and overview. So our learning objectives for today are: number one, we want to distinguish between managerial accounting and financial accounting. And number two, we want to discuss the functions of management. So there's financial accounting and there's managerial accounting, and they are alike but also very different. So there are seven key differences between financial accounting and managerial accounting, and they cover the characteristics with respect to the users that they serve, the time focus that they're focused on, whether or not the information is it's more important for the information to be verifiable or relevant, the emphasis of the information, whether it's on precision or timeliness, the subject focus, the rules, and the requirements. So let's just go down the list here. So with respect to users, financial accounting is focused on external users. Someone who might have loaned the organization money, someone who might have invested in the organization, regulatory agencies. These are all external users to whom the financial accounting activities and reports are geared towards satisfying. Whereas managerial accounting is internally focused. What we're concerned with here is providing information to managers and executive management that would allow them and assist them in making good decisions about the strategic and operational direction of the organization. In terms of time focus, financial accounting is historical in its perspective, whereas managerial accounting is looking into the future. It has a future emphasis. It's trying to determine what needs to be done so that the organization has a greater than average chance of meeting its goals and objectives as it moves forward. Financial accounting is more concerned with objectivity and verifiability of the information, whereas managerial accounting is more concerned with the relevance of the information that's produced. The emphasis is to a greater degree, is on precision within financial accounting in terms of the information, whereas the emphasis is on timeliness, relevance, and timeliness. That's what drives the decision making of managers. So it's important that the output from managerial accounting satisfies those two key objectives. Subject matter: the primary focus of financial accounting is to report on the company-wide activities of an organization, whereas managerial accounting can be focused on smaller subsets or segments of the organization, depending on what the needs are of the managers in question. With respect to rules, financial accounting is governed by generally accepted accounting principles, GAAP, and International Financial Reporting Standards, IFRS. These two sets of standards pretty much prescribe how financial accounting reports must be formatted and what they should include, and how the accounting activities that lead up to those financial statements should be carried out. Managerial accounting is much more free form, much more discretionary. It's not bound by GAAP or IFRS. There is no prescribed format for the reports. It all depends on what's deemed to be relevant and useful to the decision maker for whom the report is being prepared. In terms of requirements, there are mandatory reports that one has to prepare within the context of financial accounting. There are no mandatory reports that need to be prepared within the context of managerial accounting. All reports are discretionary. So when we talk about management, we're talking about three major functions of management: planning, controlling, and decision making. Planning involves establishing goals, specifying how those goals will be achieved, and then developing the financial and or operational budgets to support the achievement of those goals. Controlling is a function that gathers feedback to ensure that plans are being followed. It is what you do after you have kicked off your plans. You now need to control the execution of those plans to make sure that they end up getting you to whatever point in terms of performance and or operational success that you desire as an organization. So the feedback that you'll get within the controlling function of management might be in the form of performance reports that compare actual results to budget. These are essential reports for the control function. Decision making, the third function of management, is designed to make it possible for management to choose the best alternative from a collection or a selection of competing alternatives. Management will be confronted time and time again with all kinds of questions about which course of action it should take. Questions like what should it be selling? Who should it be serving? How should it execute on different projects and or initiatives? Now, a major college graduates, depending on your major, whether you're marketing or some other major, will enter into an organization and be a part of some part of the organization that is designed to support the one or more of the management functions that we just talked about: planning, controlling, and decision making. So, for example, a marketing major may go into an organization and be involved in activities that are within the context of the planning function of management. They might be involved in a part of the organization where they are tasked with answering questions like how much should we budget for TV, print, and internet advertising? How many salespeople should we plan to hire for a certain territory? If they happen to be working in a part of the organization that is part of the controlling function of management, they might be concerned with questions like, is the budgeted price cut increasing unit sales as expected? Are we accumulating too much inventory during the holiday shopping season? If they happen to be in an area that is tied to management decision making, questions that they might be focused on, and questions like, should we sell our services as one bundle or sell them separately? Should we sell directly to customers or use a distributor? Now, operations management majors likewise will go into an organization and be involved in some aspect of the organization tied to one or more of those management functions. If they are involved in an area that is tied to the planning area of the management activities, they might be tasked with answering questions like, how many units should we plan to produce next period? How much should we budget for next period's utility expense? If they happen to be involved in an area that is focused on controlling in terms of the management function, they might be concerned with things like, did we spend more or less than expected for the units we actually produced? Are we achieving our goal of reducing the number of defective units produced? And if they're involved in some area that is tied to decision making, they might be concerned with, should we buy a new piece of equipment or upgrade our existing machine? Should we redesign our manufacturing process to lower inventory levels? A human resource management major might enter into an organization and be involved in an area that is tied to the planning function of management. In that area might be tasked with answering questions like, how much should we plan to spend for occupational safety training? How much should we plan to spend on employee recruitment advertising? If the function is tied to the controlling activity of management, their focus might be on things like, is our employee retention rate exceeding our goals? Are we meeting our goal of completing timely performance appraisals? And if it's involved in decision making, the human resource management major might be involved in areas that are designed to answer questions like, should we hire an on-site medical staff to lower our healthcare costs, or should we hire temporary workers or full-time employees? So by and large, accounting majors, when they graduate, they tend to go to a large degree, large portion of them that is, tend to start out in public accounting firms, but for the most part that is just a stopping point for many accounting graduates, because many of them end up leaving those organizations to move on to either private organizations or government organizations. As a matter of fact, the Institute for Management Accounting estimates that 80% of professional accountants in the United States actually work in areas that are non-public accounting environments, i.e. they're not working for a CPA firm, they're working for private industry, they're working for government, or maybe even a nonprofit area of the economy. Now, within the context of financial accounting, there is a designation that many accountants will strive for, and that is the CPA, which is a designation that pretty much signifies to the professional world that you are competent, you are skilled with respect to financial accounting. There's an equivalent degree or equivalent certification that one can achieve that says the same thing about your knowledge and your capabilities within the context of managerial accounting, and that designation designation or certification is called the Certified Management Accounting Designation, or the CMA. So you would, like you would with the CPA, you'd have to pass a series of exams to get that designation. And that exam would include two major parts. Part one would cover things like financial planning, performance, and control. Some subcategories would be planning, budgeting, and forecasting, performance management, cost management, internal controls, and professional ethics. The second part of the CMA exam would include a focus on financial decision making, and subsets of that would be focused on areas like financial statement analysis, corporate finance, decision analysis, and risk management, investment decisions, and two, part one, professional ethics. So we're going to cut the lecture off at this point. Try to keep these to a reasonable size. So we're going to call it at this point, and we'll come back and finish up with the discussion of managerial accounting and overview in just a moment. Thank you very much.